H20 Ghost. Hey everybody, welcome to no, you knew I was going to do it. Welcome to 321 Ghost. I'm Kyle, your host with the silent G, is joined always by my confidant, my pal, sitting across from me virtually. Hey Natalie, how are you?
Hello, everyone. Hi, Kyle.
Gosh, yeah, this movie is going to be a fun one. I was shocked, not shocked, but I was, surprised initially that you added this movie onto your list. By the way, everybody, we're going to be talking about 1998's Halloween H20 colon 20 years later, I think is the full title of this film. And this movie in particular is a weird pick from this series. And this was on your list, and I am really excited to hear why you picked it.
You are going to be very underwhelmed.
Hell yeah.
The reason why I picked this specific one to start with is because it's celebrating its 25th anniversary this year. So
You
it was
know,
released in the summer,
in the summer of,
not around Halloween.
that's true. I do remember that summer of 1998. And
Mhm.
yeah, I thought that was funny because gosh, the passage of time, huh? I was watching this movie thinking there's more time between now and that movie than there is between that movie and the original Halloween. I'm like, that is bonkers.
Wild.
And
So
and the
the original Halloween celebrated its 45th anniversary
dang,
this year.
an old ass movie.
Wild.
I know. And then, and then they worse than that other reboot, whatever, the David Gordon Green and Danny McBride did in 2018. That's an additional 20 years after H2O. But as
Mhm.
we'll kind of talk about, I think, the weird convoluted multiple retcons of the plot and trying to keep track of which movies count and which movies don't.
Wait,
We're
you
gonna
don't want to discuss that?
we're going to, but I think for a series like this, I think we should take a quick pause, take a little step back, and just talk about Halloween as a series in general. I think, this will be our first time covering one of the big three, right? Michael, Freddy,
Mhm.
Jason. So I think we owe it to our esteemed, astute audience. Are they astute? I don't know. Is that the right word?
Oh, they
Um,
are.
yeah, yeah. And, just kind of talking through, our thoughts just about this franchise in general, just because it is so, revered is, I don't know if that's true. The first one, though. But yeah, just
Oh, yeah.
kind of your thoughts in general about this franchise.
I have a lot of thoughts about this franchise.
I want to hear them.
Some good, some not so good.
Yeah.
I love the original Halloween. And I only recently found out that a lot of people don't like Halloween 2,
Hmm.
which I was kind of surprised by. So apparently, amongst the horror community, Halloween 2 is not really a very popular film. Um, I love both of them. I like watching them back to back. I think they're both amazing. They're two of my favorite movies ever. And after that, it gets a little bit foggy. But one fun thing that I do know,
Hmm.
and I don't remember where I read this or heard this, probably on a horror movie podcast. But the original concept for these Halloween movies was each film was going to be a chapter of Halloween in a completely different story. So, stories that take place during the season of Halloween or on the day of Halloween. And it was a different spooky story and situation. And that's why Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, is a completely different story. I love that movie. I would love to revisit that one. I know a lot of people don't love it because it doesn't have Michael Myers, but Michael Myers wasn't supposed to be a continuing thing. Like, he was supposed to be reserved just for that one first Halloween movie, and he was so wildly popular that movie blew up. So they made that immediate sequel. There's my
Yeah.
history lesson.
No, yeah, I thought it was interesting. I mean, like even John Carpenter kind of begrudgingly came back to help out with the second one, being like, "All right, well, I'll write it, but I'm not directing it." And then from then
Mhm.
on, he was like, "Well, I'm not, I want nothing to do with this." And it's really kind of he's pretty funny for how his involvement in those things now. He's very much just like, "Oh yeah, hell yeah, I get paid. It's great," and that's you know
Good
that's
for
that's his
him.
involvement. Even though I know he reworked a lot of the music, I think with his son or something for the David Gordon Green ones. But yeah, I mean, I think those first two work really well. For those keeping score, I already mentioned, I forget, one or two episodes ago, how Halloween is a perfect movie. If it wasn't for him killing that fucking dog, only for me
Oh,
to then
jeez.
give Urban Legend 4 stars. It had a way worse dog death. So also just yeah, keep in mind I am never going to be consistent with how I judge things.
No,
So please give up on that. But the yeah, I mean, I just the I mean, Halloween's with those movies like Psycho and The Exorcist, and maybe like Silence of the Lambs, even though you argue how horror that movie is, but you these movies that just enter this upper kind of echelon of this, like oh, this is like straight up like just like a well-made movie. I think Halloween
yeah.
sometimes gets unfair, at least the first one gets kind of unfairly lumped in with all of the things that copy it. But even then it ends up just being kind of like a tired copy of itself the more it keeps revisiting Michael Myers, going through the 80s and through the mid 90s, and well, we'll debate into this movie as well. So this movie, or at least this series, compared to Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, um, I am, as much as I love the first Halloween and are with recent Halloweens too, I've had some good times with. I am like not at all as familiar with this franchise as I am with Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, both of which, like those series, I've watched all of those chapters at least 10 times each. And I cannot say that for anything past Halloween 2, really. And I mean, yeah, probably past Halloween 2.
I absolutely agree. I would say I've seen Halloween and Halloween 2 many, many times. I've lost count. I've seen Season of the Witch a handful of times. Anything in between that and Halloween H20, I don't even remember those sequels. It's been so long since I've seen them. So I think we need to decide if that's something that we want to dig into. Maybe.
I think possibly, definitely, eventually, right? Um,
Same boat for me. I've seen all the Nightmare on Elm Street films so many times. I've seen all the Friday the 13th so many times. And I think because Halloween just keeps coming back and back and back again with new timelines and new things over, you know, so many years, like over 45 years, it feels like we've seen it. Like, we've revisited those films, but really we've just been watching these new timelines and these new movies. So I would say I have a complicated relationship with the franchise because I always think that I love it, but I really only love a handful of them, a small handful.
Definitely. I'm like, you know what? If anything, you know, Don Mancini has demonstrated that you can keep the same old fucking plot line and through how many decades has those Chucky movies been around, and now into the TV series. No
Yeah.
excuses. You
I
know,
think is Chucky coming up on? 25 or 30 years.
I think it was like 89 or something, 88, 89 when that first one came out.
Hmm.
So probably time, like I said, just what does it mean to me anymore? Yeah, geez. And yeah. So I think the difference between I think this franchise and those is that like, it's just they're like the movies just aren't as fun, like it's
Yeah.
just not as fun to watch Michael Myers stomp around the place than it is watching Chucky or Jason or Freddy, right? There's
Yeah.
no, and then so the challenge is that like, okay, it works if your movie is like, like really good and really suspenseful, and like that first one, and I think that second one as well.
Yeah.
It's just that like when they start getting kind of tacky and convoluted, then it's like, okay, well, at least you can't lean on the silliness anymore. At least you're not going to be like, well then fuck it, might it's already a bad script, let's just have Freddy playing Breckin Meyer as a video game. Let's just fuck it, who cares, put him on a surfboard. Like at least
Yeah.
you know
They were
um,
having fun. They were having fun with it. And
mhm.
it even feels that way like for Friday the 13th. Like those movies go off the rails so many times. And Michael Myers is a situation where it's never fun. It's always very dramatic, it's very serious, and sometimes that doesn't hit right. Like it I
Yeah.
I think about the first one and how much time it takes for anyone to, like all the killing to really start, and it works. Like you're not bored or waiting for something to happen. Like the whole movie has this like wonderful pacing. It's very dramatic, it's very suspenseful. Like I'm interested in these characters,
Hmm.
whereas, you know, some of the more some of the in between feels like a lot of filler, and like it's trying to be dramatic, and it's not, just not hitting.
Right. And though I've always had a relationship with these movies, one because it's like, you're it's the revered classics, right? If like Halloween, right? And like I said, people argue about Halloween 2. I like Halloween 2. Especially as it takes place, like the second the first one ends, I see it as its own, and I think it's strong enough to
Yeah.
stand together with it. But damn, I lost my point for a second. Oh yeah. But the interesting part with Halloween is that when I started getting into or being allowed to go see movies by myself, like this was again in that 1997, 98
Yeah.
to 2000. And that's when, again, like we're going to be talking about a lot of these fucking late 90s, slashers, because it's just such a crucial part, and really when you're at that, we were preteens,
Hmm.
we are the audience for that shit. And even though we're
Yeah.
technically not old enough to buy the tickets, um
They knew.
they knew, they knew that we were, I was buying tickets to, Mighty Joe Young and going over to see, geez, I wish, you know, uh, fucking Hellraiser 3. I don't know. Like any, whatever, like any 11-year-old should. But I
Oh
don't think
my
Hellraiser
goodness.
3 made it to theaters. So I can't vouch for that. But, though, and so, yeah, so I just felt like, I really made it a point to see this movie, and watch it with like, the others, 'cause gosh, I think there was, man, this was like a summer where it was like, yeah, like this, and like Scream 2 was the year prior. I think that, you know, gosh, I may have watched like a double feature of like this and like that Psycho remake with which is just on my list, which we'll see if we can bring
Yes.
ourselves to
Yes, it
watch
is. I'm
that.
so sorry, everyone.
It's gonna be real bad. But so, and this movie is, gosh. So I lumped that with like that phase in my life with like, the I Know What You Did Last Summer's Urban Legend, Scream, all of that. And even like watching the movie now, I was like, Jesus, this movie, like, we talked about how Urban Legend borrows so much from Scream. Really, I Know What You Did Last Summer. But this movie fucking is just this would be a completely different movie if Scream did not exist, because this movie, like, really, like, I'm gonna go through my notes real quick here, where it's like, I mean, obviously you open with the Miramax and Dimension, the Dimension
Mm.
Pictures logo, and you have, your Kevin Williamson style, like, talking between the teenagers who all talk like they have this, like, you know masters of English type of vocabulary. um you have this opening separated opening kill scene, you know and then also just like, the things that, like, they would call as, like, meta, like, with Scream it was like kind of smart how they were doing it. With Urban Legend it was just, playing the Paula Cole song, it's,
Yeah.
Pacey's hitting the thing. And then in this one, it's like, who you've got, like, characters like, um, the, her mom, Janet Leigh, playing, the character of Norma, the
Yeah,
psycho thing.
a lot of name swapping going on here.
You even have, and this is my eye roll moment so hard, where later on in the movie, when she's sending Josh Hartnett and Michelle Williams off, she's like, go down the street to the Beckers,
Yeah.
which I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe now, so just that, which is such an obvious name. I don't know why
Yeah.
she gave that line like so forcefully, like, it was, she had to, like, make sure we all knew exactly that this was like a
Yeah.
reference to, Casey Becker's family, who, they were like, we'll go down to the Mackenzies, right, which was
Yeah.
going off Halloween. So it's just, this movie is just so, it just reeks of Scream. Oh my gosh, they're even watching Scream 2 for a minute. They're watching Sarah Michelle Gellar in Scream 2 and even at those
Yes.
scenes.
Yes, they
But
are.
so I don't, I just think that, like, yeah, I mean, as much as I was like, yeah, I guess a lot of horror movies in that era, that revival, I suppose, were really indebted to Scream. I watching this again, I think especially so. I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, of course, even like the poster, that we're all famous with, it has like all the faces all looking at you all over each other's
Yeah.
shoulders and shit. And then of course, instead of the ghost face, you have the Michael Myers ghosty face. you know. But yeah,
Well,
just thought it was really
the
interesting.
the entire feeling of the movie feels disconnected in that way, and I think
Yeah,
everything that you brought up is the reason why, because it's trying to be a Halloween movie but it's also trying to be like a post scream slasher at the same time. So
right.
you have that opening kill scene which does feel kind of silly, like the, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, popping in there like stealing the beers and like, oh, like somebody messed up your kitchen because he knocked over everything. It feels very
He's
silly.
he's a little crazy with the stick, as he
Yeah.
says. I did think it was really dumb, of course, when you first see him, he startles Marion, but of course he's wearing the hockey mask,
Yeah,
it's
but
all,
see, and the opening scene, like maybe I'm jumping ahead a little bit here,
go ahead,
but
let's get started.
it gives me hope for a different type of movie, actually. Like I
Mhm.
expected more self-awareness and silliness because of like the hockey mask and,
Right.
the joking around and like the cops going to the wrong house. Like all it felt almost like a little like a little touch of camp in there. And then the movie gets more serious and dramatic, and I actually like have positive things to say about that too. But if you look at the did you take the time to read the taglines for this movie on IMDb?
I only see the one on, yeah, I see the one that's on the Wikipedia right now, calling this summer Terror won't be taking a vacation.
I like that one a lot.
And you know what?
There's seven of them.
Even terror should practice some healthy work-life boundaries. We all should.
Some
So
self-care.
that's a very, just unfortunate approach.
Yeah, but all of them are very like they're very silly.
Do you have them?
Yeah, I've got them.
Hell
You
yeah.
want to hear
Read them
them?
yeah, please read
Okay.
them to me.
So you already shared one of my favorites, which was this summer Terror won't be taking a vacation, which also
Mm,
seems weird to have as a tagline as a Halloween movie, even if it is released in the summer, because it wouldn't be Michael Myers, like it wouldn't be his like hot ghoul summer, like it would still be Halloween.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's very confusing. I mean, the whole water situation is very confusing to me. I did not see how
Which,
water played into this movie, calling it
because
H2O.
Halloween 20 years later, so it's H20 actually,
But the
not
movie,
the letter O.
oh, so this is not a two hydrogen single oxygen situation. I
It is not.
now yeah. Yeah, okay, go ahead. Let's go.
Okay.
Keep reading
So
me some
we'll
taglines.
we'll stay with the H2O theme because
Yeah.
one of our taglines is blood is thicker than water, which again has nothing to do with the actual movie.
H2O though, yeah, right. It's
H2O.
so water
Again,
is,
it's going to be one hell of a family reunion. Like
hmm.
they're so campy. Like they're like dumb campy. Like after 2 decades away, guess who's coming to Halloween?
But it's the summer.
No, it is Halloween. They can't decide on the season. This one is just very boring. 20 years ago, he changed the face of Halloween. Tonight, he's back.
Do they you accented he? Do they capitalize
It's
the
all
H like,
caps.
oh, like like they do for Jesus? They
No,
capitalize.
it's just
Oh.
it's H and E are both capitalized.
Oh.
So he's
20 years
bigger than
later,
Jesus.
20 years later he is risen. Halloween. You're like
Yes.
the new Easter. Halloween. Hell yeah. See, that'd be a way better tagline. But yeah, so just Jesus and Michael Myers. They
Uh-huh.
capitalize the H.
This one seems pretty on the nose. The face of pure evil is back for Laurie Strode. 20 years later. Dot 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 dot. There's a lot of
Yeah.
dots. And then this one, I I don't understand. I feel like a bunch of people just sat in a room that have never seen this movie or any of these movies and just came
Mhm.
up with these taglines and were like, slap them on the posters. Trick or treat, kill or die. It's that time of year again. What?
Kill or die?
Mm-hmm.
So, but only one person kills, and that's Michael Myers. Were the others supposed to be killing as well to
Well,
not die?
I mean, Lori kills.
Well, yeah, I guess the one. Yeah. So yeah. Okay.
And
Okay.
oh, and her man, Will, oh no, he doesn't end up, he doesn't kill anyone. It was
He does
almost,
not.
almost.
Yeah. Adam
Those are
Arkin.
your seven your seven taglines.
Adam Arkin, who is probably most known for showing up in Google searches for people looking for Alan Arkin. But you know what? Good for him. So yeah, so we get through this opening, and then even then, just for like the length of this opening, I'm like, geez, there's only like an hour and 10 minutes left of this movie. Like
Yeah.
once we get to the credits.
One of the fun things about this opening too is that so this movie would be a direct sequel to the second film, correct?
Oh yeah, right. So let's quick recap for everybody. So there are multiple timelines for these movies. You have your
Mm-hmm.
original timeline that runs 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and then you have H2O, which is the seventh movie of the franchise, including Season of the Witch, still in three. But now this movie retcons all of them except for one and two. So it
Yeah.
goes Halloween 2, which really takes place November 1st, and then this movie. And then 20 years after this movie comes out, you have the David Gordon Green movies, which, just to make it even more complicated, they're like only the first one exists, just the first one. And then they release 2018's Halloween. And then they come out with Halloween Kills after that, but then include the character of Marion Chambers, who played by the same woman who is in Halloween 2. So it's like, nah, just kidding. Now Halloween 2 exists, or just this person might exist. It's very complicated, but I did think it was very cool that this woman, and I'm sorry I didn't write down her name, but she is. But I found out she's like married to the person who directed Halloween Resurrection, so that's kind of interesting. But
Oh, I didn't know that. So,
she
and her character dies
survives
in this movie and then is resurrected, if you will, in the Halloween 2018,
only to be killed again in Halloween
only to be
Kills.
killed again.
And
Like,
I'll be
just leave her be.
leave her be. And I'll be honest,
Janet
like
Leigh.
no, Janet Leigh
Oh,
plays.
just kidding. That's Norma. That's
Yeah,
Norma.
that's Norma. It's
Nancy Stevens.
Nancy Stevens. Good on her. But I did think that she gets more to do in this movie in that opening scene than she did in Halloween Kills. And I don't know. So it's like, why even bring her back? And she just gets killed in the car when they're like driving off to they like drive off to look for Michael Myers, and then they find him and he kills them.
By
It's
the
like, oh,
way,
okay.
spoilers for all the Halloween movies here.
Oh, but yeah, by the way, sorry.
I I think it's safe to say there will be spoilers for almost any movie in any franchise of the movie that we're discussing. That seems like a
Right.
fair statement.
I did think
Um,
oh, go ahead.
if you are paying close attention, which I did this time, so you have these three murders in this opening scene, and then we don't have an actual kill again until you're a full hour into the movie.
And the movie's only, if you're not counting the credits, this movie is straight up 80 minutes long, which,
Yep.
believe me, I think that's a positive. I put that down as a positive.
Okay.
I was like, let's keep this just
Oh, the
crisp and
length.
going.
The
The
length.
length.
Oh, yes. I thought you meant the fact that there's no kills until that
Oh
last, like,
no,
it gets past the hour mark before you get to like Michael Myers actually killing.
the
But
Jumanji
I
kid.
do, yeah, that being said, I do like the opening of this movie. I think
Me
it's
too.
really fun.
Yeah, I think it's really fun too. And like I said, I think watching this, I was like, this Nancy Stevens gets way more to do in this than in Halloween Kills, So like, why,
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. And also, I appreciate JGL with a stake through hockey skate through the face. I feel like I've seen that before.
I do too. And I
Right?
couldn't think of from where, but it probably is
I'm trying to
around this 90s area.
in my head, I'm picturing it. I can see the skate and I can see the two halves of face, and I'm like just trying to put those halves together to remember who that was
Whose
and what
face
movie.
was it?
Right.
If anyone knows.
Right. So, and then of course, they finally show up, and then Michael Myers just takes the keys to a car and like leaves it like going like 10 miles an hour. And
I
everyone's like,
love
oh,
it.
okay. Like literally as they're walking into the house, he's just pulling out of the driveway. And of course,
With
no one's
lights off.
yeah.
You know what? I really appreciate that Michael Myers drives because I always wonder to myself how these crazy serial killers who aren't traveling through your dreams get around.
I guess they do demonstrate
So
that he drives plenty, so that's pretty good.
they do. Yeah, he definitely knows how to drive, which also when did he learn how to drive? He was
Mhm.
institutionalized as a boy who was too young to drive
And
and
it's
then
not
escapes
like,
as an adult.
and I doubt like automatic engines were like, I mean, I don't know, sorry, I don't know car shit, but like I don't know if automatic engines were super like common in the late 70s when he comes back to kill Lori. But I mean, listen, he's got to learn a stick. That's more, and that's, because I'm thinking like I think any person with like 5 minutes can figure out how to drive like an automatic transmission car. But
I
having to
don't
drive
know.
stick shift, I think it's a little tougher. Maybe it's just tougher for me because I suck at
I
driving
think
stick
it
shift.
I think it wasn't a lot of the cars were automatic transmissions because I'm thinking about Lori in the car and I don't remember, I mean obviously it's movie magic, but I don't remember seeing, them like shifting gears. They're,
Oh, sorry. I'm
you
talking about
know.
automatic transitions in 1978 because they demonstrate that he
No,
drives a
that's what,
car then
yeah,
too. I think.
that's what I'm saying. Like you don't see anybody like pulling back on their arm, shifting gears in that first movie either. But
Hmm.
again, you're to your point, I also know nothing about cars. So we aren't the best source for car history, that's for sure.
So, then we pop into, I would argue, the worst interpretation of the Halloween score was these opening credits. It was real bad. I didn't like it at all. Just all the
Yeah.
extra, like, superfluous, like, strings and shit on it. Was not feeling that shit at all. I want that just to be like heavy synth. And then, you got your cast. You got Jamie Lee Curtis, right? You got your
Uh,
not Alan Arkin, Adam Arkin, and then you got Michelle Williams, of
Dawson's
course.
Creek alum.
I was thinking about, is there, if there's a horror movie starring James Van Der Beek, and I don't think there is, because like we could probably
I thought the same thing. I
we,
literally
like, let's complete the whole set, because
let's
we can
complete them
watch.
all.
We've got a few Katie Holmes options,
Mm.
but I don't think Van Der Beek has done horror. I don't
I
think.
don't I judging from his filmography, I would say he's not a horror fan.
We can watch Freddy vs. Jason. That stars uh, the woman that was in Undeclared, as well as she was oh my god, this is Dawson's Creek podcast. It's the it's the name of the friend of Michelle Williams. She like falls off a dock and like drowns.
Abby,
She's in, that's the one. She's
she's a
in she's in
mess.
she's in Freddy vs. Jason. Things are not going better for her in that movie. That movie
Yes.
either. Luis, I'm pretty sure I've got the
Yeah.
actresses right. We'll see. We'll run it up to the research team.
Yeah.
But again, I think you got a pretty good cast here, and of course, LL Cool J just killing it
Oh
as
yeah.
always. Um,
He likes a little bit of horror. He's made a couple. I
they, my I was gonna say, I think that I was shocked and upset that I think it's just this in Deep Blue Sea,
Yeah.
right? And I'm like, and he did those like almost like back to back, and I'm like, dude, you're so great in both of them. Like, you
Yeah.
should have kept that career going, and you probably successfully advocated for your character to survive in both of those.
Yeah, he's a nice comic relief in both movies. And I want to say the only other movies that he was in, they were not they weren't horror, they were more like action or drama, that sort of thing.
I have a picture with a beautiful painted portrait of him in the National Gallery in Washington D.C. But he's right next to I think he's in this like one room over from Michelle Obama. Pretty exciting.
Well, there you
This is great.
go.
This is great. This is great. I'll share it with you later. Um, and then you've got the introducing credit. That doesn't You don't see that a lot in movies, but you have the and introducing Josh Hartnett, who
Yeah, we need to talk about him.
who who lost the I I'll bring this up later, the unfortunate loser of the Blockbuster Entertainment Award of 1999 for Best Newcomer. But we'll get back to that later, because I went down a rabbit hole with the Blockbuster Entertainment Awards, which they're nominate.
That's
This movie was nominated for a lot, but lost a
I
lot.
need to know more.
Yeah.
We can get back to Josh Hartnett or we can talk about him now, but
Let's talk about him now.
let's talk about him now. I have seen many a Josh Hartnett movie. And is anyone else concerned that he had the same haircut in all of these movies and he's playing the same character? I don't want to talk shit on anybody here because like he was a movement. He was like he came in hot after this movie, but I really don't think that boy has range.
No, he just does
He's a cute kind of bad boy thing.
he does the same thing now. He's not now, but he's in that what's that movie? No, sorry, it's like a TV show with Eva Green and I don't know, one of the James Bonds. Why
I
do I
have
not know
no
this
idea
off
what
the
you're
top of my
talking
head?
about.
He's in. It's called like he put it called Sleepy Hollow. Uh, there's some like spooky show that he's on, or he was on for a little bit. There's a horror situation. I can't think of any how many movies I've seen with him in. I never saw because I think like Pearl Harbor was the same year as this, so like you got that
Mm.
1-2 punch of the Hartnett, and
Well, I
then
think Pearl Harbor was like that was his big break. Like this was his introduction, and then he went like into superstardom from there.
yeah, then it was nothing but Hartnett, to take a
Oh,
basketball
geez.
term, you know, from there on out.
Feel feel free to turn off the podcast now.
Thank you. Um, yeah, he's fine. He just doesn't, they don't have
He's
much to do
fine.
here because the
He's,
the the movie just goes by so fast. It's like, well, okay, there
oh
he
my
is, and then
gosh, I
she's telling him,
completely disagree. That's the thing. Okay.
yeah,
This movie is only, what you said, 84 minutes long?
it is 86 with credits, 80
Great.
without.
Okay. So it's an 80-minute movie. And I actually really enjoy all of the in between and like experiencing Lori's journey and her like trauma and her alcoholism. Like, um, I don't know how you feel about this timeline for Lori, but this is actually my favorite for her. Um, like her as a person, and I'll dig more into that
Are we
later.
including what happens in Resurrection as part of this Lori?
Um, as her future, sure, but I'm saying up to this point.
Sure.
Up to this point. Like without I don't count Resurrection as a movie at all. Um, harsh maybe, but
No.
it's pretty rough. So the whole section in between like that opening scene and like all the kills at the end, like it feels very long to me in a good way, but it feels like you're in almost like a melodrama rather than a horror movie.
A little bit. I mean, I was like, where did I put this down? Where I'm like, yeah, like they're talking about the drinking, and then,
Yeah.
oh yeah, like at the cafe or whatever. And I'm like, I was looking at she like asks for, another drink, and the guy's just like looking like real obviously down at her drink and then up at her,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, don't give her that fucking look, dude. She's a paying customer. The lady wants
Yeah.
two
Yep.
Chardonnays. Give her two fucking Chardonnays, dude. Calm your
So
shit.
who is
Back
this
up.
man to not know that that could have been for her like person that she's with too? Like you have no idea why she's ordering that glass of Chardonnay, and if she wants to chug that glass of Chardonnay, so be it. Let
Yeah,
her do it. The kinder and faster you are, the higher your tip's going to be. Like let it
exactly.
happen.
Yeah, what an a-hole. But yeah, I like, yeah, just the this version of a, certainly still traumatized haunted Lori. I
Well,
do think that outside of the coincidence of the first movie being on Halloween, oh no, never mind. I remember trying to ask myself that earlier, where I was like, there's only been like one Halloween, that one time 20 years ago. Like, why is it this holiday that y'all make it such a big deal? But I forgot Michael Myers also like kills his sister on a Halloween as
yes.
well, right? Yeah, so that
Yes.
that's so don't mind me. Let it out.
Yeah. But
Or not.
I do feel that this movie does a great job of showing her as a pretty like she's functioning. She has a life, she has an amazing job. She has her son, obviously, whatever relationship she had with his dad didn't work out, but she has problems, which I think one very traumatizing event in your life, like you know, I have no level of trauma that can resemble Laurie Strode's, but like it feels more relatable to me than the Laurie Strode that we see in 2018. So I like this version of her because she's extremely flawed, but she's also really smart.
Yeah. I yeah, it was kind of interesting that route, doing the essentially a little bit the Nev Campbell Scream 3 route a little bit, where it's like, you kind of change her name, go into hiding or whatever. And I don't think like Sydney Prescott like officially changed her name. Who knows? But or no, I don't think so. But um, yeah, but I don't know. It's weird. Just like taking it's still like a relatively like I guess it's not really that public facing of a job. I guess you're like a dean at this like, or no, you're a headmistress at this private high school or
Yeah,
something. You
it's
know,
a private. There's a name for them. It's a private high school where like the
it's not like a
um
charter school.
no, because if the students live on the campus like they do in like a dorm, it has a different. It's a totally different beast.
Prison. I you can tell we're both public school raised
Oh
here.
yeah.
Um yeah, no, I mean I like this version of Lori okay. I do think it's interesting that she goes through all these lengths to like, move to California, change her name, do whatever. And Josh Hartnett seems to have no problem mentioning to people like, "Oh yeah, my uncle tried to kill
Yeah.
my mom and like also like killed like my aunt technically 20 years prior to that or whatever." Like, yeah, just crazy runs in the family. She's just weird, which I guess
Yeah.
maybe some dumb teenager would just say that shit all the time. But
Well, and I so sorry that I don't have a specific example, but I'm thinking about movies where like people change their name and like, start a new life and identity. In order for her to be as well established in her career as she is, I would think that she like had already changed her identity before he was even born. So why would you even share that with him? Maybe because, you know, the nightmares are so bad and she's got all those prescriptions. So she's like, well, my son has to have some context to what the fuck is going on. It just seems so strange that you would share that with your child and then put that trauma onto them. But she's a flawed human.
right. I did like, oh yeah, Josh Hartnett again. I don't know. I just always think I know what you did last summer when Josh Hartnett says to Jamie Lee Curtis, "It's been 20 years. What's he waiting for, huh?" And, and I'm like, ooh, quoting Jennifer Love Hewitt there. What is he waiting for, huh? What is he waiting for? Um, what I also like too is that he uses like the "in" with Michelle Williams, because they're doing this Yosemite trip, and he's not going to go because Lori's overprotective, even though she decides ultimately like, oh, he can go, and then he's like, oh fuck, which I thought was a fun
Hmm.
kind of turnaround kind of situation, just to kind of set
Yeah,
up why they wouldn't immediately know where each other was and to kind of separate them while still having them in the same area, if that makes sense.
very
So like
smart.
I thought that was cool. um but I just like that he's like just trying to like mac on Michelle Williams, who gosh, has the most era appropriate eyebrows I've seen.
Ooh,
That's man, I'm so sorry, man. Just fucking fuck the male gaze, right? If that's
I'm
if people are
glad
doing that shit to their eyebrows,
I'm so glad you brought that up because when I pulled up the IMDb for this movie and I saw Michelle Williams' picture, I was like, gosh, she looks so good now compared to like the 90s style like got her and it just like slapped her in the
yeah,
face with skinny eyebrows and just the worst makeup like
oh
you
yeah,
like back to Dawson's Creek like barely any eye makeup and that dark lipstick like it was a lot and
yeah.
she's so beautiful but the style like oof, yeah those
But
eyebrows are rough.
I though I'm like I'm siding with the four kids. I'd rather skip Yosemite too. Fuck that. Also like in like late fall, early winter. Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't have the weather app in front of me, but sure, okay, good on you if you want. But I did like how Josh Hartnett's like telling Michelle Williams just like, oh yeah, my turns out my uncle, got crazy in the family. He's going to murder us and this and this and this. So, that we don't really celebrate Halloween, But then he's like, but it's, you know, we shouldn't be focusing on what's wrong about Halloween and concentrate on what's right about Halloween. And I'm like, what are you the fuck are you talking about, dude? I
He's talking about trying to get laid.
Oh
That's what
yeah.
he's talking about. Like there's nothing that he's saying is making sense at all.
I wish I knew what context my notes mentioned because I put at the top of the page, I'd rather skip Yosemite. And then I go later on the page, I write, I would have preferred Yosemite. So, I mean, I guess maybe to being murdered, but I mean, I don't know.
Well, no, but like just this is definitely skipping a lot of things, but just as a I I I I was writing down like all the things that they had at their party, and I was like, these are things that I would want at my like mid 30-year-old people party,
All
like
those candles.
lots of food, minimal amounts of alcohol, tons of candles, not many people, dim lighting.
Right? I know why I said I would have preferred Yosemite because this is one of my main gripes with this movie is that you finally take Michael Myers out of Haddonfield, right?
Mm,
And where do you put him? Langdon, Illinois. Okay. You could have said any random ass fucking town, I'm sure. And then this random ass nondescript campus in Northern California. I'm like, I would have rather preferred they all go on a trip to Yosemite, and he goes to Yosemite.
yeah.
Maybe he has to fight a bear. I don't know. Maybe they join forces. I don't know. But like, I would much rather see him in like a fun, different situation because you've done that with everybody else. You've sent everybody to
Yeah.
space, and I'm like, put
Yeah.
him in the yeah. You've put the I know what you did last summer in the Bahamas, just
Yeah,
to
poor
just for
Michael
gags.
Myers. Like he really doesn't get to take a vacation, does he?
I that's kind of what fuck, I
He's always in the suburbs just doing the same thing over and over again.
gosh, I mean even just with the kind of mechanic kind of Ghostbusters onesie thing that he wears, he is really kind of your blue collar killer, I suppose,
Yeah.
in the suburbs just trying to make it by, I guess. I don't know. But I guess he never does get to take a vacation.
Speaking speaking of, all the cars that he drives like seem very old-timey, but is Michael Myers scary to you in this movie?
No.
Like not at all.
He's
That
got
mask
like
is so white
and the hair
and he
is
has
so
like loving
red,
eyes.
it looks like Chucky hair.
Yeah.
And he's not 2 foot tall running at me with a knife screaming like Chucky would be. And so it's not that scary. And then also, yeah, just like the mask, like that first really good look at you have is that famous shot where like they're both looking through like the window hole and they seem together. I'm just like, oh, I was like, that
Mhm.
mask looks terrible, and not even like terrible like like beat to shit like it was in the 2018 movies, like
Which I love.
yeah, like he
I
just
like
like
his mask design in those movies.
me too. And so I just think it like it just looks really bad, and just everything just so like, and I think those 90s slashers, like everything just so like well lit, like overly lit, and
Hmm.
everything is just so bright, and it's just like I don't know.
Well, the other thing that makes him less scary to me is so you've got the situation where he needs to get a new car because
Hmm.
his car has presumably run out of gas. And I'm assuming that this is supposed to play as scary and suspenseful when the woman and her daughter go to the bathroom, but he at no point is planning on harming them. Like he literally just wants to get a hold of that purse and take the keys. And that is so strange to me. I feel like in every other film, he kills everything that he comes in contact with. And he just chose to spare this woman and her daughter. Like they're very lucky.
All right, it's because there's a kid involved, I guess, and they're not gonna go soft. They
He
won't do
doesn't
that.
he doesn't kill kids, right? Because I know that he like
Yeah.
has he ever killed a kid?
No, I don't think so. But I did
Man.
appreciate, again, very very 90s thing. I thought that child's bowl haircut. I couldn't, yeah, I initially couldn't tell you what the sex of that child was. But I remember that's just kind of how it was in the early to mid 90s. Everyone
Yeah.
just had those bowl cuts. We couldn't tell. We all looked the same. We're all just kids, just rolling around, getting dirty, getting into adventures, measuring our bowl cuts. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, dude, I would have preferred to have him romping around Yosemite. I think that would be super fun. But that,
Popping into tents.
yeah. But then he's just like, whatever, man. He was able to get that car and get to the campus, and then again, just good on him. Just like 1998, like I would have, like, MapQuest printed out and, like, put on like the dash of my car, making sure I've got the directions and everything. So I don't know how he was able to get to where he got, but
Who
without
are
asking
we
for
to
some directions.
say who are we to say that he didn't do that?
That's
I
true. Probably
mean,
just
he's presumably human.
stopped at a
Like he's
local
just
library and, got a
yeah,
library card so he could use the
with the mask
printer.
on.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
full mask. Everybody just fucking leaves the library. He's got the place to himself.
Yeah. And then gets there very very easily because you have your very inept, useless security guard who,
Hey, 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 hey.
but
Before
very talented smut writer.
okay, here's the thing. I made a note of this because it really bothers me that this gate situation. What is the point of having that gate if you don't have a speaker? Like, why does the security have to open the gate fully to go talk to the person in their car or shout back and forth? There,
Yeah,
what's the point of the gate?
there's no reason whatsoever.
So I don't think that's on LL. I think that's on whoever designed this security station that he's working at.
Hmm.
I'm just
I don't
saying.
know. The poor security guard blames his gate is how I understand it. But I did like I did like these weird interactions between him and his girlfriend,
I think wife.
wife on the phone. Just working through some scenarios with her over the
Yeah.
phone. I like that. I mean, she is his partner, his confidant, his muse. Like, she is is an inspiration. But
Yeah.
certainly, like, encouraging his work. I understand it's been trying. I know that there's certainly that guilt of returning to maybe that need to have that steady income and go work with her dad. But I appreciate the artist spirit that LL
And
Cool J brings to this role.
well, she gives him very honest critiques too. I appreciate that. She's listening to his story and, he's delivering it. I love the way he reads the
Me too.
story. Like what he's written, like the way that he reads it, like it's sexy because it's him. Like I'm biased to LL Cool J,
Mhm.
but I love that she's listening to it and is like, "What? No, that would not work." And I'm like,
Stop calling him fruit. Or
yeah.
stop comparing him to fruit. Or what I like, or she was
He
just like,
said
yeah, hell
juicy
yeah, make him
melons.
smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's
They're
okay. You
great.
can you can have your bias. I mean, that is what the LL stands for. You know.
I do get mad at him later in the movie, but not this early on. He really shouldn't be letting kids out either though. That's not good. That's not a good practice.
Yeah, he's not very good, and I would not trust those two kids to make smart decisions.
Oh no.
Yeah, both Josh Hartnett, and I just keep calling him Jumanji Kid because I couldn't remember where he was from, but he's the kid at
Is
the beginning of Jumanji. He's like the young Robin
what?
Williams that, like, fucks up the shoe factory machine or something. I don't know.
Wow. I'll tell you, I've seen this movie so many times and I had to look up the two friends' names,
Hmm.
Charlie and Sarah, because they're so briefly in this film and have such little character development. Like all slashers have very little character development, but all I know about Charlie is that he wants to fuck Sarah. And all I know about Sarah is that she loves food and sex. And I appreciate her prioritizing those two things at such a young age because I mean, it takes some of us decades to figure that
I,
out, that
yeah,
all you need is food and sex.
I love the just put this on my business card. No sex games until I've eaten. I I loved that. So Sarah's pretty great.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's going to be your one, which is often the one trait assigned to, the
Yeah.
teen friends in these movies, I thought it was pretty funny. Um, yeah, gosh, so we saw Janet leave for a little bit earlier on. I thought it was, again, another eye rolling moment when she goes up to Jamie Lee Curtis, her daughter in real life, and says, before offering like maternal advice, goes, I know
Yeah.
it's not my place, wink, 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 but this and this and this and this and this. And I'm almost like, yeah, don't tell me how to fucking raise my fucking kid. Get the fuck off.
Yeah.
And shut up, old lady. Go eat dirt. You know. But yeah, I don't know. I also thought it was really shitty where she's just like, hey, you're good to go. You got 45 minutes to pack. And I'm like, 45 fucking minutes? Like that's not enough time to pack. And then also like
Yeah.
where does she live? Does she live on campus? Is the house on campus?
I would assume that she lives on campus.
Beautiful house. And just
Well,
for this
that's
fucking
I
high
even
school,
wrote
fucking private school kids. God damn.
I wrote a note about that too because I was like, Lori's house is my dream house. It
So
has
nice.
lanterns all over the walls. Like give
Right?
me all the lanterns, and like the lighting is just kind of like dim and spooky, which you wouldn't think that she would want considering her dark past, but it it feels very like warm and not very California at all. Like that,
Yeah.
nothing about that house says California to me, but it is a really nice house to be located like on the campus. You'd think that she would just have like white walls and
Yeah.
be that.
You've got the really other extended scene is when, she's trying to, tell her truth to Alan Arkin, Adam Arkin, you know, and he's like being like a real asshole about it. Like, especially
Yeah.
when it gets like, where he's just like, yeah, my sister was murdered by my brother. And he just goes, ooh, that's sucky.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I
sucky. I'm like, what the
okay, I
fuck
have
does
a
that
couple
mean, dude?
issues. I have a couple of issues with his character. So that moment is
Yeah.
just really interesting to me because Lori's choosing to tell him this really deep, dark past secret while they're like making out on the couch and she's like, straddling him and I was like, that's an interesting choice. But then
Yeah.
yeah, his reaction is really like kitty, and then he like shifts into being supportive
Right.
like in the next sentence and I'm like, wait, doesn't he say that he's a therapist or he's a counselor? That
And
wouldn't be your response even in your personal life, I feel.
yeah, he only got concerned when he was like, is he still out there? Is he gonna does he
Yeah.
think he's gonna come back for you? And by that you
Hmm.
mean me? So I'm glad that he's dead.
I am too. And here's my other reason why. Maybe I'm overthinking this, but okay.
Mhm.
So he has the task of checking on all the kids that are left behind. So he goes to the girls' dorm room to check on them. And he asks them what their plans are. And they make the joke about like doing all the inappropriate things that they can think of. And they ask him what he's doing, and he says he's going to have his nipples pierced. And I was like, you're supposed to be a counselor at this high school, and you're joking around with girls in their bedroom about getting your nipples pierced. That
Weirdo.
feels that feels weird. But the 90s.
And
Yeah, so he's not my favorite character. And like obviously Lori felt shameful about their relationship since it seemed like they were keeping it on the DL.
yeah.
I don't think she was proud of that.
So yeah, Michael Myers dispatches of Sarah and Jumanji, pretty quickly. I thought a couple things I'd like noted was, it was weird to have, like, I get that you set up the dumbwaiter,
Mm.
because you knew that was going to come back later.
Oh yeah.
But it was weird that Michelle Williams, it was her that's like using the dumbwaiter originally, and I was like, oh, that's weird that like she wasn't a part of some chase scene with that. It was weird. So,
Yeah, I agree.
and as dumb as Jumanji guy's death was, even though it had yet another, just like the skate thing, I couldn't place it. It also has always with the garbage disposal fake outs. I feel like that happens a lot in those movies.
Yeah.
Just grind up some hands for me, and I'll just do it.
Yeah, you know what? I actually that was one of my questions that was on my mind. So, okay, so two garbage disposal questions.
Sure.
One, have you ever dropped something in your garbage disposal that you could not reach from like above the rubber piece? So, like, say it's a fork, you could
Hmm.
usually reach a fork, right?
Yeah.
But let's say you drop like the little metal piece of your garlic crusher or something, and it's in there. You can
Yeah.
hear it. Like you turn on the garbage disposal. Are you reaching in there or are you calling a plumber?
Ooh, I know it's bad reaching in there. I don't, it's just going full force and just doing it. But I mean, you can like, so what you need to do, so two things that I do. Well, one, of course, you ain't never turn that shit on. And then two,
Yeah.
you can unplug. Well, certain ones you can unplug from underneath. But
Smart.
so that would be, you got that double extra layer of protection there, I suppose.
I have always used a tool whenever I need to get something. So, like, if you have tongs, like,
Yeah,
throw those tongs in there. Like, try to see if you can get it that way. I'm not putting my hand in there. Even, yeah, I'm not doing it.
I put my hand in there just
Um,
the other day. Dang.
but yes, I would love to see, like, I would have loved to have seen Michael Myers just walk up and be like, flip that switch, and his hand just start getting like
Just gets
just
all
yeah, oh,
just
like meat
flapping,
flaps.
meat just
Yeah.
flapping.
Ugh. Yeah.
The
And
yeah,
then stab him.
right. So I thought Jumanji's death was a little dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah's the only I liked the dropping the dumb waiter and it breaking her leg,
Yeah.
I thought that was a fun one because that's like the only like
Yeah.
real like gore you get, like, is that scene on that leg. And then
Yeah, not a
but
lot of gore in
then
this movie.
but then you get that it's just sad, like you're just going, I don't want to die. And I just remember, like, I guess these are children, so I guess he does
And
kill children
she's
because they're 17.
and she's super fun. Like she
Yeah.
does nothing that's annoying or like I don't wish her harm. Like a lot of these movies, you watch them and you're like, gosh, I can't wait to see this person get killed off. Like they have it coming. Like she seems like a sweet girl who's like having a great time in high school. Like, And so yeah, it is sad, but also, we barely get to know her.
And we're already like down the stretch because what happens is, they realize, or what's it, Jamie Lee Curtis, Adam Arkin go to find Josh Hartnett. By
Hmm.
that point both Sarah and Jumanji are dead, and then Michelle Williams and Josh Hartnett, like, they connect or whatever, and then you have the Laurie and Michael face to face, and there are literally 20 minutes left of the movie. So like
Yeah.
Michael sees Laurie for the first time and there's 20 minutes left. And you're just
Yeah.
like, Jesus Christ. And then it's weird because it's like, I feel like, I guess not that much happens. She immediately tells, like, that's it for Josh Hartnett and Michelle Williams. They're done for the movie.
Yeah.
He says, drive off,
It
you're good.
it is kind of amusing to me when she does tell them to go drive off and she gets out of the car. Michelle Williams is so much more upset that she's staying than Josh Hartnett is. Like
Yeah, she's
they exchange several sentences back and forth. She's like, "No, Miss Tate, no, like don't do it." And he's like, "Oh, mom, I guess we gotta go."
yeah, I
Like,
know.
I'm sorry.
So they go back just to have Adam Arkin, shoot LL Cool J. Even though, like
Mhm.
watching that, I rewound that scene like twice and watched it. There's two cuts where it's like you see the shadow walking up the stairs, and
Yeah.
then it cuts to Adam Arkin about to shoot, and then shooting, and then it cuts again. Like that first shape, it's absolutely Michael Myers,
Oh,
and
for sure.
then
I noticed the same.
and then it cuts back and it's absolutely LL Cool J. So I'm like, okay, whatever. And you know what?
Well,
That's
their height difference is quite a bit too.
quite
Like,
different.
and build, like just everything about like Michael Myers is tall and like a different type of large than LL Cool J is like, gosh, I mean, he can't be taller than like 5'10". He always appears like he has like shorter energy to me.
Hmm, I don't know.
And he's just muscular, like so much muscles. Michael Myers has none of that.
Gosh, so you think LL Cool J is dead. Michael Myers shows up, kills Adam Arkin, and then you have this chase scene, through, I think one of the libraries, I think the cafeteria, like with the tables and stuff. And, again,
I
it's just
like
like,
that. I like the tables situation. Anytime there's like a sequence in a slasher where like you have to hide in or under a series of things, whether it be tables, body bags, mannequins, curtains, I'm into it.
name it. Yes, even though, again, like, I just like, dude is just silent like a fucking cat. How does he, like,
Yeah.
not only well this scene where he's just like, how does he get on top of that table, make no noise whatsoever, and walk across all those tables? And then also when he is, I forget, like, when he was coming down at some point, he's like lowering himself
He
from a
is
thing.
using he Okay, let's think about how old Michael Myers would be at this point in time. So he was supposed to be 6, so he would have been, okay, if Lori was 17 and she was a baby when Michael Myers married murdered his other sister.
So it's like 61, right?
I
Because
want
17 years
like,
later is 78.
yeah, like I'm just thinking about someone who presumably like has no gymnast background, no gymnastics background, lifting himself, his giant body from the
With one
ceiling
arm,
silently with one arm and coming down.
his
That
arm
is impressive.
he's literally like hanging with his arm, like, at like this, like,
That's a
right
one
angle.
armed pull up.
Jesus Christ. And he's just, and then even then, like, I think earlier when, like, Josh, before they meet up, Josh Hart and Michelle Williams are like running, and he somehow, like, is just comes from a tree silently, when he was like, it makes no
Yeah,
sense.
he's like a
Um,
cat. Also, I was completely wrong. LL Cool J is 6'1".
dang, okay, taller than me.
He's tall.
Okay.
My
Um,
mistake.
but then you get the first kind of unceremonious kill. You think he's dead. You think Michael. Well, we never think Michael Myers is dead, but he falls
The
out a
only
window, doesn't he?
time That's the only time I've ever been mad at LL Cool J is when he
Yeah.
tells her to, like, he's dead and grabs her and stops her from, Lori had to get that. She was going to stab him, I bet, as many times as she could. And he didn't even let her get one in.
What an asshole. Yeah. Is that what you were going to bring up earlier? Is like why what the
That's
gripe
the
you
only
have
time
with him?
I've, like,
Yeah.
never will you hear me say that I was mad at LL Cool J. But in that moment, I was like, really? Oh, come on.
I like that they put him in a body bag, you know, without checking a pulse, or and then also leaving the mask on.
Thinking, why would we leave that mask on? Like, you would take it off.
I'd be like, maybe. I don't know. I'd be like, well, let's stab him a few times, and then and then I'll take it off. But so maybe that's what it was. It's like, okay, look, we can kill him right here. Like, we can stab him a bunch of times right here, or we can zip him up and put him in the
Hmm.
body bag. But I'm not taking the mask off if we're doing that. But so I
Yeah.
don't know. And then just this whole thing at the end with him waking up in the car, and then him launching out of the car, and then them flipping it and then pinning him, and allegedly, I couldn't even tell you. I don't remember anything about resurrection. Like, do they show that it's someone getting switched out, or do they just tell you that that's what happened? Because
I
it's
don't
not Michael
remember.
Myers somehow. It's just some random other asshole who just happens to be around.
I don't remember. And I actually have watched that movie quite recently. Not
Right?
sure
Because the idea is
why.
that she decapitates someone else, right? Or someone is just Michael Myers manages to like switch clothes, put someone else in that, cover his mouth so he can't talk, and then
I
that's
have
why
no
they cut his head
idea.
off.
I like that Lori I like that Lori decides that she's going to take this van and like take care of him herself.
Love it.
But what is troubling to me is I can't like have you ever lost your zipper pull on an article of clothing?
Yeah.
It's super difficult to open it, right? Like even from the outside of the garment. Imagine trying to open a body bag from
From
the
the
inside.
inside. I think they
What?
have to. I think it's like the situation with graves. I think they have to put like a string or a bell on the inside just in case they mess up, in case they get
So
it
it's just
wrong.
it's a
Yeah.
double-sided zipper. So they like if you are alive, you're like, oh, thank
Yeah.
goodness this was there.
It's a whoopsie zipper.
It's a whoopsie zipper since they're not
Yeah.
checking pulses before they're throwing you in there anyway.
Right. So, um, but like, without even, if by some magic miracle Halloween Resurrection never existed, I think this would
Hmm.
have been rad. I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, she just chops his fucking head off. That's awesome. And it looked
I
cool and it
actually,
ended that way. And I was like, yeah, just because that's the only way to do it, right? Which is I
yeah,
appreciate about that last Halloween. It's like, well, there's only one way is just destroy the body entirely.
yeah, I really enjoy part of that whole sequence. I really like when he is like when his body is stuck. The first thing he does when he like kind of comes to is he like checks to see if he's wearing his mask, like in a panic. I really enjoyed that because I liked him like not having his wits about him and being so worried that he wasn't wearing the mask because that's like very clearly, a huge part of who
Mm-hmm.
he is. But I don't like that he reaches out like to hold her hand or like for help, whatever that is. I'm like,
No,
he's not the type to like play tricks. So what is that supposed to be? Like I'm assuming it's supposed to be a trick, but I didn't really love that. But yeah, I like the chopping off of the head. I think it's great. Yeah, it's a pretty quick ending. I think one thing we didn't touch on is I think Jamie Lee Curtis is great in this movie.
I think so too. And I think that's I would say probably the best part of this movie is her. I think
Yeah.
there's, the movie's short, which is great. And I
Mhm.
think she's great. Outside of that, I don't know. I did like, and then I like the funny asides with between LL Cool J and his wife. Even though at the end he's like, "I
Yes.
got it, babe. I got it. I'm gonna write a thriller," and I'm like, "Children are dead, bro. At the place you were the security guard at, like, bro, like
Also,
that's you're gonna be fired at least.
oh,
You let this happen."
absolutely.
So I guess he's got it. And then if he's gonna write like a thriller based off it, that's awful.
Also, what type of thrill like that sounds like horror to me. Like you're getting into horror novel territory, not thriller. With
That's what I thought.
yeah.
And yeah, gosh, and yeah, that's the end of the movie. Just 80 minutes. I was
Yeah.
wondering, I'm like, God, are we going to spend more than 80 minutes talking about this movie? We might. Well, looks like we're getting there. But
I I I think we will, but we also have a franchise of movies
yeah.
that are intertwined with this as well. And this movie actually has a 54% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I also like had to like dip into because I was so curious. I
Mhm.
didn't look at any of the others to compare, which
Resurrection has a 10,
oof, that
which I'm surprised
honestly
1 out of 10 people said something nice about that movie.
I think that nostalgia could get it 1 out of 10.
Yeah. So, the movie has a 54% on Rotten Tomatoes. Before we hop into, rating this movie using our patent pending, by the way, 5 boost system, um, I was looking through any sort of like, I was looking through the Wikipedia for this and any sort of accolades or anything, or any attention this movie got. And I noticed, sent me down a rabbit hole of Blockbuster Entertainment Awards 1990
Yes, yes.
1999 nominees. And so I need to double check. I didn't see who. So, okay. So, best actor in a horror movie for the Blockbuster Awards, Blockbuster Entertainment Awards in 1999. So now remember, this is
So
anything
excited.
from summer like basically summer 98 into like fall of like, or sorry, into like spring of 99, right?
Great
So
time.
now you have Adam Arkin, who was nominated for Best Horror Actor. Do you want to guess who he lost to?
Oh, I'm surprised that he was nominated with it not having a leading role.
It's probably one of his I don't know. He might have maybe multiple award nominations, but I couldn't imagine what. But
I don't know.
he his fellow nominee was Elijah Wood for The Faculty, but
Oh,
ultimately lost to Wesley Snipes, Blade.
wow.
Hmm. Now, LL Cool J nominated Best Supporting Actor Horror. Who do you think he lost to? I'll edit out any long pauses, so don't worry if you want to sit and like think on this for a second.
No, I want everyone to know how hard I'm thinking about this.
Okay, good. I want to make sure how everyone knows how committed you are.
Gosh, I wish I had known that there was going to be trivia.
I know. So I'll tell you real quick. So you have,
Wait, wait,
uh,
wait, 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 wait. It was 98?
so basically any movies.
Anything from 98 to 99.
Yeah.
Was it our boy Joshua Jackson in Urban
No,
Legend?
no, I wish he was better than this person. So the other fellow nominee was Chris Christopherson for Blade. But both ultimately losing out to FPJ, Freddie Prinze Jr. for I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
That
It was bonkers.
is unbelievable. I want to write hate mail so many years later. They gave it to Freddie Prinze Jr. over LL
Yeah. So you've got
for that movie. Oh my God.
so you've
No.
got best breakout star. You've got Josh Hartnett, who lost to Jesus. I couldn't. Oh yeah. Do you know who Dougray Scott is?
No.
Exactly. Do you know who Joseph Fiennes is?
That name is familiar, but
He's
I'm not like give me a movie.
Well, it was for Shakespeare in Love.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. I do. Okay, I do know who he is.
Does he have? Does is he was he as much of a breakout star as Josh Hartnett? I don't know. I don't think that's true. But the biggest crushing what the fuck moment
Oh
is
no.
you've got Jamie Lee Curtis nominated for Best Actress in a Horror Film, lost. Do you want to guess to who?
I'm assuming it's not someone in Blade.
Not someone in Blade. No, I couldn't tell you anyone else in Blade to be honest.
Is it to Jennifer Love Hewitt?
Ding, ding, ding. It is Jennifer Love Hewitt
And I still
for
know
I
what you did
Still Know
last
What You Did
summer.
Last Summer, beating both. Check this. And I don't know how this person
I
was
can't believe she
nominated.
would beat Jamie Lee Curtis.
Beat both Jamie Lee Curtis as well as Brandy for I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Dude, fucking Jennifer Love Hewitt wasn't even the most interesting actress in
No,
her own fucking movie. I would have put Brandy above Jennifer Love
I would
Hewitt.
have I would have given it to Brandy 100%. It would have
So,
been fun if they killed off Julie and Ray as like a twist.
and
And
just
then
let
it
it be
was just
Brandy and Mackay Pfeiffer.
Brandy and Mackay Pfeiffer. Like let's make that shit happen.
Brandy and Jack Black. Make
Yeah.
let him live. Yeah. Um
Oh no.
so I just thought that was pretty funny to share. Also A Bug's Life beat Mulan that year. I think that
That's that's
should
also
be
bullshit.
revisited. And
Should
then
be revisited.
for best horror or no, for best supporting actress, Catherine Zeta-Jones beat Clea Duvall in Faculty. And then Celine Dion won for Titanic, like 1999. Like the movie's 2 years old. Like get a fucking grip, y'all. Like you can't still be keep. You just need a reason to keep giving Titanic awards. Come on, get the fuck out of here. But I thought that was so I could just imagine you and I just just angry fists clenched at the injustices of the 1999
Yeah.
Blockbuster Entertainment Awards. I just thought that'd be fun to share with you.
That is really upsetting. I thought it was going to be way more fun, and now I'm just furious of all the
Just
wrongs that happened that year.
it's a lot. Man, just beating both Jamie Lee Curtis and Brandy. Like, get the fuck out of here. Come on. Brandy was so good that they put her in, well, yeah, that they put her in the lead actress. They're like, we're not even gonna fuck with supporting actress for her. And they put Freddie Prinze Jr. in the supporting actor role, not even in
That's
the
so
lead
funny.
actor role. So it's, you know, I don't know. So we're here. Now, would
I'm so
you
curious before we move on, how long you were reading about this particular award show.
a lot because it was hard to find the list of nominees at first, and I kept getting really like mixed up because it was the 19 like where they put them like they're yeah the
Yeah.
way that they kind of choose like what the parameters of like release dates and everything. I'm like I don't
Yeah,
know.
because it's
And
not a
then
calendar year.
the Blockbuster Entertainment Awards ended in 2021, so I would assume it's because people rioted and just really quickly lost interest after the injustice of Jennifer fucking Love Hewitt. Come on. Jesus, get out of here.
Wow.
So, now for the boo scale, you want me to go first? Or you want to go?
Ooh, I feel like this is going to be a situation where I'm inconsistent.
That's okay.
I have watched this movie so many times. I kind of like fit it into like a comfort category.
Hmm.
And I almost like I feel like that gives you half a star right there, half a boo for like getting into comfort movie territory. I'm gonna give it three boos.
Okay. I'm giving it 2.5.
I was on the fence. I was gonna do two
I
and a half, but I pushed it up.
and I wrote two boos on my thing, so it's a last minute change because you're right. You're right. You changed me that half a boo. You're right. It is earned for that
Yeah.
familiarity.
I'll say objectively, I do think it's a two and a half boo movie, but I'm giving it three because of the comfort movie
Oh,
aspect.
you're talking to urban legend four boo masterpiece over here. So don't even worry. Now, where would you where would you list it as far as Halloween movies?
There's so many.
Yeah, I mean
Are
I've
we
got
like counting like Rob Zombie like and like all of them? Like
like I've got a top five written out right here as my five favorite Halloween movies, but which I can share. But I'm curious to see like where you put H2O. I'd assume with like the top ones, right? Because there's just not a lot of like really good ones.
yeah. I will admit though, I enjoyed the Rob Zombie vision of Halloween. I think it's something completely different than
Yeah.
like anything else, but he managed to make it his own. But I can give you a top five.
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
Hmm. Okay. And I swear if Halloween Ends is in your top five, fucking I know it is. Okay. I'm gonna be bold here.
Love it.
Bold and simple. I'm gonna go Halloween
Okay.
2,
Mhm.
Halloween 3.
I'm gonna write this. Look very creative. One, two, three. Thank you.
I know, right?
I was like, here, let me write this down. I bet you're just going one, two, three. All right, that's easy. I'm just kidding. So Halloween, Halloween 2. Then you got Season of the Witch.
And then I'm really torn between Halloween 2018 and Halloween H20. Because I did really enjoy 2018.
And then that's yeah, I'd say that's a good top five. H2O is my fifth favorite as well.
Hmm.
My you know, um, see rolling your eyes already. I Halloween. So H2O is number five, right?
Okay.
Number four,
Are you
season
counting
of the
down?
yeah. Number four, season of the witch.
Okay.
Number three, Halloween 2.
Wow. I know where this is going.
Yeah, second best Halloween movie ever made is fucking 2022's Halloween Ends.
I think
Uh,
we need to do a whole episode on that.
I will sing those movies praises. I think it should have it yeah, and the first movie of course being the Halloween, right? The first one.
Hmm.
I as far as like all this like retconning and story stuff, man, if they just went straight from the first Halloween to Halloween Ends, man, I think it would have been stronger. All of
You're
it.
bananas.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I where I agree with you, it's a totally different point that I'm
Like I
about
don't
to
want to
make.
agreeing is a generous term, but sure,
Agreeing might be strong.
yeah.
Where I like where you're going with that idea is I would have loved for that Halloween Ends to be the beginning of that new trilogy. Like let's
Hmm.
just let's just do that. I liked
Have like Corey
all
B
it was
that
just
will
out of order.
Michael
Yeah,
Myers.
it felt very out of order, but I think that would be a very rich conversation.
I like it. We will do it
Mhm.
possibly. I don't know. Maybe start
Yeah.
a podcast and talk about it. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Who
Who
knows?
knows? Well, gosh, okay. I feel like, for an 80-minute movie, we've said a lot of things.
Yeah.
Um, Anything else you want to add about Halloween ends or Halloween ends? Sorry, about Halloween H2O colon 20 years later.
Mm.
Sorry, you could give credit where credit's due. Give it the full title. Anything you want to add?
The only thing that I can add is I never really thought about how strange it was that they called it Halloween H2O until this year and reading all of those taglines and the just so silly and fun. And I am delighted that this movie did as well as it did, sales wise, box office sales wise, for
Enough to
for what
get
it was.
enough to get you a Halloween Resurrection.
Yeah, exactly. They definitely didn't go to a good place with that. But yeah, I think it's a easy to rewatch, fun movie. If people were telling me to pick my top five, like you just did, I would say like if you're gonna watch Halloween movies, like watch these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if no, I guess there wouldn't be. There'd be a fun cut of either like a fun cut that explains how both H2O happened, and then 20 years after that is the 2018 one. So it includes them both in that situation.
Yeah.
But then you don't get Hartnett, you'd have to maybe explain, you know. Or, I'd written on a stray note that like I think the only other place this could go is to do like a new Nightmare kind of route with Jamie Lee Curtis and John Carpenter. I think that'd be
Oh
really
my
cool,
gosh. Yes.
right?
Yes.
They're both pretty fun people, and I think that would be a fun situation. And then with like
Yeah.
a Michael Myers coming, played by Mike Myers. I don't know, you know. So
Yeah. Halloween is a situation, and this is going to be a reoccurring theme, I think, for both of us, where if they keep making them, I guess I'll just keep watching them.
oh yeah, 100%. And they will,
Yeah.
and I will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like like the new
Absolutely.
Final Destination coming out. We're gonna watch it. Of course we will.
Oh, hell
The new
yeah.
Insidious that's out this week. Of course I'm gonna watch it. Of
We
course I'm
might
gonna.
be the first people in line for Final Destination.
Oh, absolutely. Jeez, yeah. If they ever give me another Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street, 100%. So,
Please.
gosh, I knew we'd have a lot of fun talking about this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
A
good.
very Very long conversation for a short movie.
Yeah, but it was fun. Well,
It was.
have a good night. Thanks, everybody. And gosh, we'll see you next time. 3, 2, 1, Ghost.
Thanks for listening to our episode on Halloween H20. If you're enjoying listening to this podcast, you don't need to hide out in the bushes and look into our windows to find out what we're up to, because you can find us on social media. We're on Instagram at 321GhostPod. You can also give us a follow on Twitter at 321GhostPod. If you'd like to email us with any questions, comments, concerns, or maybe recommend a movie that you'd like to hear us chat about, you can email us at 321ghostpod@gmail.com. If you're listening to us on a streaming platform, we would love and appreciate if you could leave us a killer review. Thanks again for listening. Now get out there and have your hot, cool summer. 3, 2, 1, Ghost.